Have you not heard? Has it not been told? There is a story of old.
Archbishop Dominiquae Bierman has traveled the world for over 3 decades proclaiming the gospel from Zion to the nations with miracles following. She exposes the false doctrines of replacement theology and preaches restoration to the Jewish Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach.
That a lion has defeated a dragon. A lion has defeated a dragon. A lion has defeated a dragon. The Lion of Judah has defeated the dragon.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. A shofar and a half for another warrior, Yael, the warrior, hallelujah, the wife of Heber from the Kenite clan of the Midianites, from Jethro's family. Today we're going to get to meet a woman that is so wise that only one woman managed to actually win the entire war of the Israelites against the Canaanites that were oppressing them for 20 years. And though everybody had their part in winning the war, the major part was Deborah the prophetess that prophesied, strategized, gave the command to the army commander, and went to the war together with him. And the stars fought all the way from above for them to win a war against an oppressor that had 900 chariots that didn't even let them forge any arms or weapons, so they wore no spears. There were even 40,000 people of Israel didn't have even spears to their name. And so they definitely were in a big disadvantage. And we're going to check what happens in this war, how actually Yahweh uses 2 women to win the war. Deborah is the first one that we talked about in a previous episode, and today we're going to see her prophecy coming to pass with another woman. Now, the first thing we want to know is that this other woman wasn't even an Israelite. She was a Gentile. And God used in this case, well, we would say an Israelite and a Gentile to bring together the victory for Israel. So Israel was very, very oppressed. Let's take a look. In Judges 5, after the victory, Deborah sings a song, and the song is very revealing. And we also get to know that Deborah is a singer on top of it. She's a praiser. So Judges 5, 8-9 says this. New gods were chosen. The people were in idolatry at the time. Then a war was in the gates. Not a shield or a spear was seen among 40,000 in Israel. My heart goes out to the commanders of Israel. The volunteers among the people bless Yahweh. You can see here the prophetess, the judge, the powerful woman of authority, but you can also see the mother. Because, you know, normally you wouldn't have a man saying, my heart goes out. She just says, my heart goes out. You can see she had compassion. She had mercy over the sons of Israel because they were at such great disadvantage, and she was standing in the gap for the sons of Israel to win the war. Hallelujah. And she was the one calling the shots as well. So anyways, this looked absolutely impossible. It looked like this was not going to happen. They will not be able to succeed against the oppressors, the king of Canaan, Yavin, the king of Canaan, Sisera, his chief of staff, 900 chariots, no spears in Israel, 20 years under oppression, and no. This was a war to lose. But not with Deborah, and certainly not with the other heroine of this book, Yael, as well. So let's keep on reading. It says this. In Judges 4:8, she comes to Barak and she says, Barak, go into the battle. Barak says, okay, I will go. If you go with me, then I will go. And so she said, okay, fine. I will go with you. But this is what she says, Judges 4:9. She said, I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, the honor shall not be yours on the journey that you are about to take. For Yahweh will sell Sisera Yahveh will sell Sisera into the hands of a woman. Then Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. So Deborah prophesies that Sisera, who is the head of the army of the Canaanites. Now, understand this one. When you kill the shepherd, or when you scatter the shepherd, all the sheep are scattered. So even when people would go into battle, if you go into battle, let's say, and you kill every soldier, but yet the head remains alive, that's a big, big mistake. And so until Sisera, the head of the army of Canaan, would be killed, the battle could not be really won, because then the Canaanites could regroup again under the leadership of Sisera, and more battles and more battles. So there had to be a situation where somebody courageous enough will take on the head. And for this purpose, Yahweh chose a woman. And that's what Deborah actually went and prophesied. Now, that woman was from the clan of Yethro. Who is Yethro? Yethro is the same one as Chovav. He is the father-in-law of Moses. He is the father of Tzipporah and the grandfather of the children of Moses, right? And so Yethro comes to the desert, and Moses asked him to go with him, but Yethro didn't want to go. But somehow we see that the clan from his family actually is found eventually in the Holy Land, in the Promised Land, but it's the particular side of the family that separated themselves from the entire clan of Yethro, and this clan is called the Kenites, and they are Midianites. And Yael, therefore, is the wife of Heber the Kenite. Now let's take a look at who is Yethro a little bit. Let's go to Numbers 10:29 to 32, and we will see the background of Yael. Then Moses said to Chovav, the son of Reuel the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, we are setting out to the place of which Yahweh said, I will give it to you. Come with us, and we will do you good, for Yahweh has promised good concerning Israel. But he said to him, I will not come, but rather will go to my own land and relatives. Then he said, please do not leave us, inasmuch as you know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you will be as eyes for us. These Midianites were trackers in the desert, just like the Bedouins are today in Israel, and they can be eyes in the desert to Moses. So it will be, if you go with us, that whatever good Yahweh does for us, we will do for you. By the way, that's Genesis 12:3 right there. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. When Elohim does good to Israel, those that have helped Israel get blessed. But when people, do evil to Israel, then they get cursed. And in this case, then, Moses was inviting Yethro, Chovav, to put the key of Abraham in the open position of the blessing for his entire clan. But Yethro said, no. I want to go back to my family, kind of like Orpah did in the book of Ruth. She went back to her family. But there's something cryptic in the scriptures. It looks like at the end, actually, Yethro accepted the invitation and went with them because it doesn't say that he turned around and he left. So he may have said, no, like you bargained with somebody. But eventually when Moses said, like a good negotiator, hey, if you come with us, you do good to us, then Yahweh will do good to you. Being a good businessman, he said, I'm going to go with this Moses, and I'm going to go with these people of Israel. So anyways, we find therefore the family of Yethro in the land of Israel in the Galilee. And in Judges 4 verse 11 it says, now Heber the Kenite had separated himself from the Kenites, from the sons of Chovav, the father-in-law of Moses, and had pitched his tent as far away as the oak in Zaananim, which is near Kadesh. So he went as far away as the mountains of the Galilee. We do not know where Chovav would have been. Maybe he went more towards the Negev, or he stayed more at the entrance at the gate of Israel. But in this case, this part of the family came all the way to the Galilee. And so now we see in Judges 4:16 that Barak begins to win the war with all of the soldiers. It said, Judges 4:16, it says, but Barak pursued the chariots, 900 of them, and the army as far as Haroshet Goim, right below the valley here. And all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword. Not even one was left. But Sisera, the Canaanite army commander, had escaped. He is the only one that had escaped. In other words, he left his soldiers. You know, this is different. You know that Israeli army commanders, normally they go before the soldiers and they are the first ones to show the way. But often in other armies, the commanders go in the back in order to protect them. In this case, we see Sisera forsook his soldiers. He left them because he saw that they were going to be slaughtered. So he was pretty much a coward, this army commander. And he left his soldiers and now begins to run for his life because he's so scared that he will be killed. Understand that Sisera had Israel under the gun for 20 years. And now he's running away for his life. And then in Judges 4:15 and 17 it says, Yahveh routed Sisera and all his chariots and all his army with the edge of the sword before Barak, and Sisera alighted from his chariot and fled away on foot. Now Sisera fled away on foot to the tent of Yael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. For there was shalom, there was peace between Yavin, the king of Hatzor, who is the king of Canaan at the time, and the house of Heber the Kenite. In other words, Heber the Kenite and his clan, they were living in tents and they were in peace with everybody. They were not quarreling, they were kind of neutral. They did not quarrel with anybody, so they were in peace with the Canaanites, as long as, of course, they complied with them. So they were politically correct at the time. And so now when Sisera begins to run, and he decides to run to the tent of Yael, what was he thinking? He was thinking, I'm going to go to a place that's friendly to me. I'm going to go to a place that they've been politically correct all the time, and they played the game with me and Yavin, the king of Canaan, against Israel. And so I'm going to be safe there. That was his thinking. So he runs to the tent of Yael. Can you imagine what it looked like? He had been running and escaping, may have been bloody, maybe was muddy, he was sweaty, he was exhausted, he was hungry, he was thirsty, he was scared, he had lost buku amount of soldiers, nearly all of them were routed and killed by Israel at the time. So he arrives now to a safe place, to Yael, the tent where a woman could take care of him, where a woman could give him something to drink, where a woman could allow him to rest and keep watch over him. Oh, so he thought, except this woman was going to be used by God, was going to be used by Yahveh to win the war against the Canaanites. Judges 4:18 and 19 says, Yael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, turn aside, my master. Turn aside to me. Do not be afraid. And he turned aside to her into the tent, and she covered him with a rug. He said to her, please, give me a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. So she opened a bottle of milk and gave him a drink. Then she covered him. Boy, 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 this woman was a wise one. She knew this was the prized possession. And what does she do? She just puts him at peace. In other words, she uses at that point her motherly demeanor and says, come in, I will take care of you. You see, every man has a mother. And so, you know, he felt comfortable with that. And he comes in and she covers him, you know, like you cover a baby that's too exhausted, with a heavy blanket, a weighted blanket, that's a carpet, a rug. And then on top of it, that mother, Yael, that woman that also knows how to nourish her children, she knows that when the children are tired, they are super exhausted, they are too hypered, then they need to drink some milk, because milk has calcium and magnesium, and that can put the child to sleep. So the milk most probably was a warm, nice glass of milk that she gives to him. So she used wisdom and she gave him milk. But what do you do when you have a very exhausted commander and you don't give him water, you give him milk? You actually gave him a tranquilizer and a soporific medicine.